Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Last week, we discussed the first two seasons of the Swan Song of the DC Animated Universe shows. Today, we're going to continue the review, which won't actually contain the formula I'm used to. I'm essentially going to continue my review from the last episode, much like the Clone Wars review, so bear in mind it won't be a full review like last episode. Alright, let's get started. Now, there are some significant things to note off about the next 3 seasons of the show. First off, the title change. The show's name was changed to Unlimited because all the members on the team, and when I say all of the members, I mean a ton of new members, a part of the Justice League. This team is an all-star lineup, as you can clearly see. We have classic characters like Green Arrow, Black Canary, Aquaman, and Supergirl, but also some obscure faces who have names attached to them because of this show. Huntress, The Question, Zatanna, Vigilante, Steel, Shining Knight, Mr. Terrific, Hawk and Dove, Fire, Ice, Booster Gold, Vixen, Stripe, Stargirl, among many others that for the sake of the length of this video, I won't name. The team truly expanded into infinity, and among the original 7 members, the Justice League was a force truly to be reckoned with the likes of Task Force X and the Legion of Doom. Another change that is important to note is that the show was no longer serialized like the first 2 seasons and was more standalone, aside from a few episodes here and there. Much like Batman the Animated Series Season 1 and the other seasons, you could jump into a random episode and find new characters to follow. There are some callbacks to the first 2 seasons of Justice League and even Superman, but it doesn't really happen that often. The show itself can be really watched in any order minus the last episode, so it's not strenuous on the brain. The final thing I want to note is the reason you don't see Aquaman too much in the last few episodes is because of the failed TV pilot, and you don't see the bigger Batman characters because of the stupid Bat embargo and the 2004 animated series, which is what I'll cover next week. So that kind of sucks, and it makes me wonder what role Aquaman could have played in those episodes, and what villains like the Joker, the Penguin, Harley Quinn, the Riddler, Scarecrow, Bane, and Mr. Freeze could have done. Those are just the villains I picked as a part of the Legion of Doom, because I can. It doesn't bother me too much, but it is noticeable. The show overall was still excellent. That might make you wonder what the individual episodes are like. Well, you're in luck because I'm going to go over the 3 seasons and tell you which episodes you should watch and skip. There are a handful of episodes that I recommend in this season, but there are some you can skip. Skip kids stuff. The Justice League turned into 8-year-olds, and it was such a weird idea that I can't at all recommend it for hardcore fans of these amazing characters. It's a Silver Age idea that the writers tried to replicate and did a good job at doing so, but it wasn't very good overall. The rest of the episodes you can skip come down to personal preference. I would say skip This Little Piggy, but Batman has a beautiful moment in that episode where he sings, and it is very funny and beautiful at the same time, so watch the episode for that moment. The rest of the episodes are very well done. For example, For the Man Who Has Everything is a great episode, delving into Superman's psyche and shows what a world would look like where Krypton never died. Watch it for the amazing performance from George Newbern, especially towards the end. I can also recommend The Greatest Story Never Told, because it follows Booster Gold in an episode where he tries very hard to get recognized and learns humility. It also has a cameo from composite Batman and Superman, which is very fun. Another great episode is The Return, in which the Amazo android takes out most of the Justice League members, leading to Lex Luthor, of all people, taking him out. And finally, there's The Once and Future Thing, which is a 2-parter that focuses on Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern going back in time and forwards in time to stop Kronos. My favorite parts include them asking Jonah Hex for help, and the crossover with the Future League from Batman Beyond, which includes Warhawk, a future version of Static, and Terry McGinnis' Batman, which also features old Bruce Wayne and his relationship with the younger Batman, was a ton of fun to watch. So yeah, season 3 was fun, but it needed a little more of a cleanup before coming out. But this was a solid intro to a larger Justice League team. Overall, solid A-. 9 out of 10. Much like how season 2 was for the original run, season 4 improved upon the previous season and then some. Because not only is this my second favorite season of the show, but it also contains my absolute favorite episode in the entire series, the Cadmus Crisis. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to discuss the other episodes that are really well done in this specific season. You heard me mention Task Force X before, but the episode they are involved in, named after them, is a ton of fun. Now, obviously, I'm not going to mention their real name here because you guys know YouTube. But the team consisting of Deadshot, Plastique, Captain Boomerang, and Clock King battling the Justice League was a ton of fun to watch. And one of the only ways I can see this faction fitting into a larger DC world most of the time. The Doomsday Sanction is another fun episode, focusing on Doomsday, the creature that killed Superman in the comics. Here, he's not that significant, but for fans of the comics who know what Doomsday did, it is a ton of fun yet tension-filled to watch that we get to see him in a tussle with the Man of Steel. Double Date, which featured Black Canary and Green Arrow opposite the Question and Huntress, was another fun one, as was Clash, which showcases Captain Marvel's budding opinion against Superman, which is a very fun dynamic, by the way. And finally, there's Epilogue, a real bookend to the entire universe because it ties up all loose threads and the plots from each of the shows and gives us a definitive ending. But none of these episodes compare to the five-parter that is the Cadmus Crisis, which showcases so many awesome things, such as Captain Atom turning on the League, Cadmus framing the Justice League for murder, a clone of Supergirl taking over the Watchtower, and the original 7 members teaming up to fight Lex Luthor, who merged with Brainiac. This is the closest thing to a theatrically released feature film in the DCAU ever got after Mask of the Phantasm, and it shows majorly. This is not only my favorite part of the season, not only my favorite episode, but one of the best DCAU moments, period. And this episode is one of the reasons why this season gets a perfect score of a 10 out of 10. And there was no way they could have topped it, but they came close. It's the Justice League versus the Legion of Doom in a season that's nearly as good as the fourth, but still not as good. Overall, I recommend a handful of episodes from this season. Definitely check out Flash and Substance, which is a great episode focusing on the Flash, and one that was well deserved after someone got the shaft. It features some of his rogues gallery and is a great tribute to our boy in red. Also, definitely check out Dead Reckoning, featuring Deadman as the main protagonist, and a pretty funny scenario where the Justice League turned into apes. Thanks a lot, Gorilla Grodd. Another recommendation I have is for the Great Brain Robbery. Just in case a Mind Switch episode is up your alley and you want to see Michael Rosenbaum play Lex Luthor again. Yeah, that happened. And of course, definitely watch the finale, Destroyer, where the heroes and villains team up to defeat Darkseid in one epic showdown that is easily one of the best finales to any TV show to me. So yeah, there isn't much else to say here. Season 5 is great, and I wholeheartedly recommend giving it a watch. Yet another 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's it. Justice League is yet another home run for WB Animation, and especially DC. It's one of their best shows to date next to Batman, Season 1 of course. It's really a prime example of how to make an interconnected universe, and the one person I can continually praise for this is Bruce Timm. So overall, the show as a whole gets a 9.5 out of 10. What a wonderful and nearly perfect show. Well, that's it for this review. And that's it for my DC Animated Universe reviews. If you enjoyed my thoughts, please let me know and tune in next week when I take a look at one more animated series that is frighteningly underrated. With that said, my name is Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week.